Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is SkeleTales.
And this is the podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
Alissa, we haven't talked much about dead grandmas in a while, but I have one that I just cannot resist telling you right away. So my friend Lauren and her family came to Portland for a visit, and it was phenomenal. And we're staying up and drinking some wine. And she was telling me about her grandmother's house there and how it was just one of her absolute favorite places growing up. And she spent a lot of time there in the home with her grandmother, lots of memories. And her grandmother moved into the house. I think the house was built in the 20s, but her grandmother lived there for the past 50 years. And the place is huge, immaculately clean. And she showed me a photo. It's beautiful. So when Lauren was 17, her grandmother passed away, and she was totally devastated. And so as a way to kind of be closer to her grandmother, she went to this home, which was now occupied by new owners, knocked on the door and was like, my grandma used to live here. If you ever need a babysitter, maybe I could help clean the house or something. And the people were very sweet. And I think they actually hired her as a babysitter once or twice. And so she's just really attached to the house. Now, years went by. She lived in New Orleans. She lived in Austin, where I met her. And eventually they're now back in Louisiana. And she decided to stop by her grandma's house for old time's sake. And she knocked on the door. And lo and behold, it is the same owners that had bought the house some 25 years ago. And they even remembered who she was. So they said, sure, come on in, walk around the house. And so they're showing them around. And they mentioned to her, though, that some strange experiences had started occurring around the house shortly after they had moved in 20 whatever years ago. They would hear vacuuming in the house and then go to check it out. Nobody's vacuuming, everything as it should be, but they would hear this all hours of the night. They would regularly hear a woman singing around the house, but then they'd never be able to pinpoint where it was coming from. And this went on for months and months until they'd finally had enough of it and called someone in to sage the house. So the woman who came in was also a medium, and she is saging the house and cleansing it. And she said that she felt like at the staircase, someone had died. They'd fallen down the stairs, and she has this, feeling of death there on the stairs. Yeah. Now, Lauren's grandmother did not fall down the stairs and died. I think she died of natural causes. But Lauren did mention how as a kid, she was always super afraid to go up the stairs. And when she did, she'd go up one step and then run all the way up the stairs because she always got this eerie feeling. And sometimes she'd feel cold spots going up the stairs too. So she wonders maybe this is something that happened before her grandmother moved in.
Yeah.
So then, apparently the saging didn't work. The vacuuming still continued. The singing still continued. And I think there was quite a bit more, but Lauren couldn't remember all of the details of what was happening in the house. So they end up getting a priest in the house to bless the house. And that did the trick. Oh. No more vacuuming, no more, singing. And so after hearing this, I was like, how did that make you feel, knowing that your grandmother was still in the house after she passed? And Lauren said that she wasn't actually really surprised that happened in the house because her grandmother was so attached to the home, but that she was really jealous of the people that they got to have these extra experiences with her grandmother. Yeah, and that they wanted to get rid of the grandmother. Yeah, and Lauren's but I want to be in the house. I want to be with my grandma. And so if Lauren's grandmother is out there in the ether listening to this podcast, she wants you to go haunt her right now.
So they ran her out and then a priest got rid of her? Was Lauren's grandma...
the saging didn't help with the hauntings. And but whatever the priest did must have the spritz of holy water. I don't know what priests do, but and I asked, I said, was your grandmother religious? And she said, yeah, she was. And so I think that there was maybe some connection there where the grandmother was like, oh,
okay. Yeah. She would listen to a priest. Get it.
Yeah. But some woo woo sager. She's like, what
the fuck are you
get
guys
out of
doing
here.
in here? What is that?
I wanted to real quick though, Lauren started a podcast a few months ago. And so I'm going to plug that for her. The podcast is called All the Things with Lauren Pryor and Anne Marie. And they talk about working moms and how they manage the impossible work-life balance, and more than that, just all of the things. But it's really entertaining. I've listened to a few episodes. So if anybody is looking for a new podcast, All the Things with Lauren. Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'll listen to that. I feel like we can relate. We could probably be on it.
We could be on that podcast because I'll tell you what, it is, even with our kids in school, out of school, it is a challenge trying to do all of the work with the kids at home and all of the things. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That sounds very relatable, but that's a great story. That's a very interesting story. I want Lauren to be able to buy the house back.
I know. Oh, so the family is moving out after 25 years. And I know in her mind, she was like, the heavens have opened. This is my moment. I can finally buy my grandmother's house. It's something like $950,000. And she's like, no.
Oh, that sucks. So, brutal. Wah,
yeah,
wah.
Brutal.
Well, Grandma, if she goes back and haunts it, that might just tank that estimate there.
I know,
value.
Maybe put that on
haunted?
The listing.
Super haunted.
Although people love haunted things these days, so you never know.
That is true. They'd pay more for that. We know this. You got to be like, it's got bed bugs or something real,
nobody's buying
fear.
That shit.
Yeah, exactly. or maybe there's bats in the attic of the house. I'm sure there are. So
I'm in.
Keep me out.
I want to buy that house now.
We were listening to a podcast the other day, and it was about rabies. The whole episode was about rabies. And apparently the goddess of rabies, it goes back to Greek times. Rabies has been around a really long time. Uh-huh. But the name of the goddess of rabies is Alissa. I was like, of course it is.
Did you hate that so much?
It's ironic, I suppose. It is quite ironic. As is
your number one fear of death is rabies.
I know.
And then it's named after you.
I don't know. It seems about right. I don't know if she gave people rabies or you prayed to her when you got rabies.
Oh, that.
Spoiler, it won't do anything. She's still going to die.
She prayed the rabies would go away.
Yeah.
Mercy.
And then Mitch said that told me the other day that my name means great happiness. And
That's
we
beautiful.
both laughed about that.
Hey, you are great happiness, Alissa. Even though you hate bats so much.
It was Alissa has many cousins like Alice, Alicia, Alissa, even Julissa. It's a combination of Julie and Alissa.
Julissa.
It also means noble, exalted, and rational. Which
actually that tracks.
That does track. All of it. It was within
you
a day or two.
Any alphabet. Boolissa.
Boolissa. Hoolissa. Goolissa.
Goolissa.
What if my name was Julissa? Oh Lord. Anyway, okay, that's way off track. Hey, Britt.
Big apologies to any Jubu or Doolissas out there.
Yeah, I saw you talk shit about Wyoming. You got called out about that.
I got called out.
Sorry.
Sorry. Not all of Wyoming is terrible, just most of it.
Oh yeah, I defended Jackson Hole and
Jackson
that area,
Hole,
I believe,
beautiful.
In that episode.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to tell you a little story about miracles.
Okay, I'm down for this.
Yeah. I was
We can add that to our list. Strange, unusual, paranormal, miraculous.
Miraculous. I think it's kind of strange and unusual. Maybe coincidental, serendipitous. Miracles can come in all forms. I'm going to pick one for you, Britt. So,
okay.
When I was about 12, I was at a store and was following my family up an escalator. I stood on my toes looking over the railing when I heard my mom calmly call my name. As I leaned back from the railing, I passed under the underside of the opposing escalator. They were very close together, and I realized that if I hadn't moved my head when I did, that it could have been a very bad situation. Anyway, thinking that my mom was going to smack me for almost getting myself killed, I looked up at her and she wasn't even looking at me. I asked her if she called for me, but she said that she hadn't. Neither her nor my father had heard anyone else talking. Years later, when I visited the store, there was a plexiglass barrier preventing anyone else from doing the big
Someone totally
thing
died. They died before they put that plexiglass on. Holy shit.
Have you ever considered that when riding an escalator? Does that have anything to do with your fear?
Now it does?
Yep. New fear unlocked. I figured I'd just...
Jesus.
Do you know, or like when it's going to into the ceiling even, right? Like if you're like looking over the side and then the freaking ceiling comes. I never even thought about that. Crunch.
Crunched brains.
Or just busted in half, just squashed in half. I feel like that would happen more. I tried to Google that, but couldn't find many stories along those. Lots of just people falling over the edge, not being like crushed by the ceiling as it went up.
I'm terrified. Just say escalator, and I am like, that's enough of a horror story for me. Just saying the word.
Okay, so now I have another genuine miracle to tell you about.
Okay, perfect.
In junior high, a dude named Marcus jokingly said, I can make this paper ball go in that trash can across the gym. Even if he threw it as hard as he wanted to, it wouldn't keep momentum. Like, it was impossible. It was so far across the gym. On top of that, his throw was like a basic basketball throw, like a wrist flick. Right as he jokingly threw it, someone opened an external gym door to outside, and the wind carried the paper ball all the way across the gym and into the trash can. For some reason, a guy that nobody paid attention to. He had the entire gym's attention at that moment, and we all saw it. That gym has never heard an audience roar so loudly. This was in 2003. His senior yearbook quote said something about that day. I forgot what it was, but it was like, I could have done it without the wind, or something like that.
He's like, what, in his 30s now, and that's still his like, hey, remember that time?
Yeah, what
in high school.
I love that. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Miracle, maybe it was a miracle.
I'll count it.
His little guardian angel was like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of them just nobody paying attention or looking at you. I'm going to fly that fucker all the way over. And
he's the underdog. I'm going to make him the king of the mountain. Let's do this shit. Woo! Give it some wings.
Was that enough to start with? 2 miracles?
To start with? Or do one more. Do one more
miracle? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Oh, I feel like we're going to lose people if I keep calling these miracles. All right. This one could genuinely be a miracle or very serendipitous situation.
I'm ready.
It's strange and unusual. When I was in kindergarten, about 5 years old, I think, my father had taken me to one of my brother's football games. I can remember playing near my dad's feet and wriggling around behind him on the floor of the bleachers. They were the kind of bleachers that didn't have backs on the seats, so if you were small enough, you could shimmy through. I was a good 20 steps up the bleachers and can remember that feeling of lurching stomach as I lost my grip and fell headfirst towards the ground.
Oh, shit.
Directly below me was one of those shoddy construction fences meant to keep people from going under the bleachers, and my face was on course to get impaled. Now, the bleachers have beams of metal underneath it like big X shapes to hold them up, and in the middle of this X is a small bolt that sticks out about 1/4 of an inch. The bolt caught the front of the neckline of my favorite sweater I happened to be wearing, that and every day. And in one motion, my entire shirt was ripped off my body. I was turned right side up and I plopped onto the ground about 3 feet away from the fence.
No.
I was startled but not hurt and started crying, and some nearby kids freaked out after I told them I had fallen because it was a good 20-foot drop. I found out when I was older that later that night, my super religious, church in her basement, Roman Catholic grandma called my mom and asked if I was okay. My mom said, "Yes, he's okay. How did you know about the accident?" She said she felt something bad was going to happen, so she prayed for me specifically. I'm not religious, but I'll never forget that feeling of falling in dread and then just sitting there with no shirt, completely fine.
Whoa. Okay, that is stamped for sure miracle.
It was a pretty
The grandmother felt it in her loins that something was happening to her grandbaby.
She did. She felt it in her loins.
Oh, that's fantastic. Great story.
I should just say I was praying instead of telling people I felt it in my loins, because that never gets a great
Everyone's
reaction.
Like, but you remember it.
You do. Okay, do you have any more stories?
Oh my God, I'm so excited to share this story with you. This comes from Digsaw. A few years ago, I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Melbourne, Australia. Oh, shit.
Oh, you get to do that?
It?
Yeah, do it. You probably have a pretty good Australian one.
I feel like all my accents go to Australia. I'll have to practice now.
Starting off great.
Starting off great. It was my first time living on my own. The apartment block had been built in the 1930s. I'd been there for a few months when I came home from work one day and went into the bathroom. I saw something strange. A wooden board, which had covered a hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space, lay fractured in 2 pieces on the ground. I examined the pieces. The board was an inch thick, and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone to work on the attic. I was frozen stiff with fear. Someone is up there for sure. I gotta stop after that. Someone is up there for sure, I thought. Oh, God. I'm so embarrassed. Okay. I emailed pictures to the landlord asking if anyone had been there, with an undertone of annoyance since she hadn't warned me. Her reply read, "Please call me as soon as you're able to." I called, and she explained that her last 2 tenants had said the same thing had happened. She promised to replace the board, and she did. A month later, I woke up one night around 4 a.m. My body was covered in goosebumps. It felt like someone was rubbing his or her hands on me. Ooh. Everything was silent, but then I heard a dragging sound coming from above my bed. Shh. Shh. It was as if someone was pulling a sack of potatoes. I froze, convinced someone was up there. There's no way an animal could make that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up the courage to turn on the light, armed myself with a cricket bat, and walked to the bathroom. And that's when I saw that the new board covering the hole was broken in 2. I felt sick. The dragging sound had stopped, but I heard something else, whispering. The sound was clear and coming from the attic, and it sounded like children's voices. I could hear one sentence repeat over and over. "It's your turn. It's your turn. It's your turn.
No.
It's your turn. It's your turn." I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. Oh, wait, they're Australian.
The flat? Oh.
No, the children's voices. I got to try it again. Okay. It's your, nope, just kidding. I'm not going to start over. Okay, I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. It was 5 a.m. and dark outside. I watched TV to try to unwind. Then a fuse blew. My pet budgie, Dexter. Do you know what a budgie is?
It's a bird.
Okay.
It's
Who?
Do you know that?
No. What kind?
Okay.
Is it like a parrot?
Yeah, it's kind
Okay.
of parrot, I think.
Who I kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night, but he started squawking like he was being strangled. And I'd never heard him make those sorts of noises. He was screaming. I grabbed my car keys, ran out, sat in my car, and waited there until the sun came up. When I saw people walking their dogs, this comforted me enough to go back in. The front door was open, but I'd figured maybe I forgot to close it when I ran out. I went in the kitchen to check on Dexter, but he wasn't in his cage. I felt sick again. All my windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. I took him out, washed him, and dried him. I was so confused. At 8 a.m., I called the landlord and gave her a watered-down version of the night. Oh, wow. You heard the whisper.
That was like Irish. The whisper too.
Oh, Australian.
Crikey.
Oh, wow. You heard the whispering too, she said. I stayed in the apartment for another 18 months.
Two? Like
I thought 18 minutes. Oh my God. I heard the whispering on a few occasions, and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved. Although I live elsewhere now, the landlord recently called. She said that her new tenants had begged to speak with me about some of the stuff that's been going on there. Forget it. It's their problem now.
Oh, that's a wall person.
Holy, oh my God.
They got some wall children.
Wall children? What are they dragging with the bag on this? Oh my God.
Like, has anyone got up into the ceiling? Did that, there's
How has
answers
that not been brought up? Why?
And why did they try to drown the budgie?
None of it makes sense, but it's all terrifying.
Your
the idea of wall people.
Through the hole?
Yeah, who's going to go through the hole? Not me. Oh yeah, your turn. Your turn. Oh my God. No.
No, that's really terrifying. Again, like someone's had to have gone up there, right? People think there's wall people. That really happens. People really live in the walls of houses.
Wall people really happen. You don't hear a lot about wall children, though.
You don't hear about it a lot, but it would make more sense because they're smaller.
They're smaller. They can fit through small holes. But how long can wall children live in walls before they're not children anymore?
That's true. I wonder if it was a talking bird in the attic.
Up in the attic.
I wonder if it could have been like a parrot or something.
A Bruce Lee style bird that's kicking boards.
Or a cockatoo, because when I was in Australia, the cockatoos, Australia is like someone released all the birds in a pet store. Like it's just all the most tropical, crazy,
just flying around willy-nilly
birds. Have you been to Australia? Haven't?
I have. I remember some feral cats, but not a lot of birds.
Oh my gosh, the most beautiful birds, like parakeets, lorikeets, like just super tropical, colorful birds, and cockatoos, which are like real big ass birds, and they damage shit. They like rip apart roofs, and they're very destructive.
Okay, not a ghost.
It could have been a bird that talks. Your turn. Your turn.
They do. That sounds kind of like a child. Your turn. Your turn. All right. Solved.
Okay.
Solved. No ghost. No squatter. Bird in the attic.
Don't know what they're dragging. Just, mice or whatever.
Seeds? I don't know.
Yeah. Ugh. Good.
All right.
Story,
what you got?
though.
What you got, girl?
Oh my gosh. Okay. This one is like maybe a more genuine miracle than my last one.
Oh, we are on the miracle train. That's right.
And I don't have any names for any of mine, so sorry. But My family moved to a new city when I was 8 and my brother was 10. We had no family in the area whatsoever and had to adjust to a completely new lifestyle. One day, my brother had a massive headache. The teacher sends him to the nurse's office and he's yelling and in pain. The nurse told him to calm down and called my mom to come pick him up. My mom knew something was wrong because my brother was normally very quiet and saw he had thrown up, so it was likely something neurological. Things progressively got worse, and my brother ended up having to be airlifted to the children's hospital and have to do surgery immediately. I have no idea what exactly happened, but something with his brain ruptured and led to some sort of bleeding.
Oh, shit.
Both my parents spend weeks on end in the hospital with my brother, taking shifts and sleeping there just to stay awake while my brother was in a coma. Thankfully, my grandma was staying with us, so she had to take care of me, and I hadn't seen my parents in weeks. All I was told is that my brother is very sick, and this is how things were. At some point, my mom said she went into the chapel and broke down crying. She didn't know how she'd explain to her 8-year-old son, who saw his 10-year-old brother every day, that he won't be able to see him anymore. She said a janitor there took her hand and told her, "Jesus told me that he'd be okay." What was odd is that my mom never saw that person again. Thankfully, my brother did pull through, and the doctors that treated him told my parents, "I'm not one to believe in miracles, but the fact your son is alive is a miracle."
Wow. Who's that janitor?
Right?
Just like divvying out miracles.
The hospital's like, "We don't even have a janitor." I mean, but that's a very confident thing to say. Like, if you work in a children's hospital, you know that doesn't always work out that way.
That's amazing that the kid pulled through.
Yeah, that was a nice one. Maybe that was a real miracle. Even the doctor said it was a miracle. Miracle. Okay, I'll wrap my stories up with one more miracle.
Oh, perfect. I'm so ready.
And you're gonna like it because it's romantic. Okay, maybe not a miracle, but I was at a Chinese restaurant with my then girlfriend. We were about to open up our fortune cookies, and I said, "Watch, it'll tell you the love of your life is right in front of you." She opened it, and it said, "The love of your life is right before your eyes." We couldn't get over it.
Oh, and they weren't married then?
No, they never got married. They broke up, so suck it, fortune cookie.
No, get out.
Miracles.
No,
it's true,
false.
actually. He
For
did
real?
follow up and say, yeah, he didn't. They didn't get married. They're still friendly, but they didn't get married. But maybe, you know what? There's a lot of years to live. Maybe they'll end up back together, full circle, and the fortune cookie will be proven right.
It's true. We have no way of knowing how miracles work.
I love that one though too. I thought that
was
one
good.
That was pretty coincidental. That was pretty good.
I
mean, miraculous.
I like those. I didn't even think to tap into the miracle market. Nice job. My last story is keeping with the haunted houses of sorts that I'm kind of going with. This author says, "I've never lived in a haunted house, but my mother did as a teen. Other houses on her street had strange things going on, too. A few homes away from her lived a family. One night, the daughter went to bed with a bad headache, and the next day, she was dead. She'd passed away from an aneurysm. After her funeral, the family went away to get their minds off of the tragedy, and the father asked my uncle, who was my mom's brother, to check in on their pets. My mom and dad, who were dating at the time, went with him. My mother had heard that there was a grand piano, and she had wanted to play it, and my dad was studying to be a veterinarian, so he wanted to see the pets. After entering the house, my uncle and my father headed to the basement to see the animals, and my mother went to the piano on the ground floor. She was playing it when she felt something brush her ankles. She thought that a cat must have left the basement and walked past her. She kept playing, and then she felt it again. She looked under the piano and saw nothing. When she started playing again, she felt hands clasp her legs tightly. She dashed to the basement door, called for my uncle and father, and waited for them. Back outside, my uncle could tell that my mom was rattled and asked, "What's wrong?" She told him what had happened, and he turned white. He told her that the daughter who had died used to play a game with her father where he played the piano and she crawled underneath and grabbed his ankles to push his feet up and down on the pedals. So, spooky piano story.
Love it. Oh my gosh, that's creepy. That's sweet, but creepy.
Sweet but creepy.
Sweet, screepy.
Squicreeps.
Sweet, screepy.
Screepies.
That's so sad. And then an aneurysm is so scary. That sucks.
As a parent, I've always had that fear because one of my children likes to embellish how ill they really are. And I know you know this feeling too. Brush it off, go to bed.
Walk
but like, how terrifying. How terrifying.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Especially if she like complained and wanted to go to the hospital or something. And they're like, you're fine.
You're fine. Just get drink some water, go to bed.
Yeah. Oh boy. I like that story, but I also hate that story. That's really creepy.
Do you play the piano? I don't know if I've ever asked you this before.
No, not well. Not well. Like I've got a couple of little songs I can play on it, but no, I'm not a pianist. If I might become one just
ahead.
So I can brag about how big of a pianist I am.
Well, I'm a pianist, so let me tell you something. It's really scary when you're playing a piano late at night. Because I've had that thought before where it's like, oh, what if something grabs my feet? But it's me, and so everything is fearful. But
really? If it grabs your feet specifically?
Well, I think just nighttime in general is just a spooky time.
Yeah, and piano is a spooky instrument to play, kind of.
It is, especially if you're playing something real eerie.
Yeah.
It can like, give you the heebie-jeebies.
I don't even know what the pedals do. What the heck is it like? Octavy?
There are 3 pedals, but I only know what 2 of the pedals do. One, sort of like is like an enhancement. It like elongates a key, so you press it, and it's like instead of just going bang, it goes bang, kind of like elongates it. And the other is a mute. It like mutes it, so instead of going bang, it goes bang. Bang, 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 bang. And I don't know what the third one does. I don't remember.
I learned something new.
Fun facts from a pianist.
From a pianist. Thank you. We should have the
I'm not a pianist.
Pianist corner or pianist.
You have to put the A in there. Pianist.
I'm saying it. It's in there.
Say it. Let me hear.
Pianist.
Debatable.
It's in there. I put it in there.
Oh, this is a fun night. I love it. Miracles and haunted houses.
Heck yeah.
Bringing it.
Beautiful. I love it. If you have any stories about a haunted house or any miracles you've experienced yourself or witnessed or know about, please write it in. We have our hot box, and that's, what?
SkeleTales podcast at gmail.com. You can also call our hotline where we are taking sweet stories by voicemail. What's that number, Alissa?
It is 302.
2 years we've been doing this.
DEAD. 302-646.
No! How do you not remember? 302-689-DEAD. 302-689-3323. Oh, man. What did you even do before we had cell phones and you had to remember phone numbers?
I remember a lot of phone numbers. I think I don't say 302-689-3332.
Oh, my God.
332323. So that number, once again, is 302-689-DEAD. 302-689-3323.
Beautiful.
There we go. You can also find us on all of the socials. We're SkeleTales Podcast, SkeleTales Pod, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Really been pushing the old YouTube. You can even listen to full episodes over on YouTube. So
it's true. And we're putting on. Oh, so sorry.
I was just going to say, please hop on over there and subscribe. We're SkeleTales something over there.
We are also posting never before seen content on our YouTube. So please go subscribe over there.
Heck yeah, we are.
We also have cool merch. Some of it may or may not be haunted. And that is skeletalespodcast.etsy.com over there. So go send us some money so that we don't go completely broke from doing this podcast.
Please do. We're also going to have some fun new stickers up there soon, too. So
it's true. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
Oh, damn it. That sounds way better. Oh, Liz, I can't believe I almost forgot. Tonight, haunt y'all later.
Haunt you later, Britt. Good night. You really get me every time. I feel so gullible. Fuck. All right.